Hey, it's Tara. Let's talk about a different mindset. And it's a mindset that it wasn't something that I was taught, but it's something that I've discovered. And I've discovered it only works through the kind of work that I do. So, what I do in sessions with people is right brain to right brain, where the left brain is your frontal lobes, your thinking, planning, talking, intellectual, logical, verbal side. The right brain is very much your unconscious, intuitive, nonverbal, connecting attunement side. So this is where your nervous system will match another person's energy. Your mirror neurons will pick up another person's posture when you sit across them. It's very unconscious, the process that happens. But the key to the nervous system and balancing it out and regulating it and strengthening it and strengthening resilience is through the right brain. And so this is where I get this incredible opportunity to work with people in filling in the gaps of their developmental ruptures or the gaps they've had in their childhood or the places that they're stuck right now. There's a sense of knowing what is needed next because I'm sensing it from that part of my brain. It's not coming out of a textbook. It's not coming out of a manual for how to do therapy and the questions that you ask. Because if you don't really have a sense of somebody's nervous system, you don't know how to time the questions. You don't know which questions are going to trigger somebody. And the work I do, we don't want to trigger you into a state of overwhelm or reliving traumatic experience. We don't talk and do talk therapy in the way that we go start to finish through the horrors of your life or every shitty thing that's ever happened to you. It's not effective, so we don't do it and I don't do it. What I found in that work is that as you're able to help somebody regulate their own nervous system, which means really coming out of any thwarted fight, flight, or freeze cycles, anything that's happened that's overwhelmed you where you haven't come quite back down out of it, we help you do that. I help you do that. And once you're at this baseline, we can create a new baseline, one where you are in this homeostasis, which means you're perfectly balanced. Your sympathetic nervous system increases when you need to respond to something and you respond appropriately and proportionately to the event. You're not over responding or hyper responding. And then you're able to come out of it and come back down to that baseline. So this is where you're able to move flexibly in your life to get the most out of it and to be the healthiest. And so in this work, what you might typically think is that when you're overwhelmed, you need to do less. And I am a fan of deep recovery. When you have pushed really hard, you need to have moments of deep recovery, just like you do if you work too hard in the gym, you need to have recovery days. But what I'm starting to learn in the work that I've done is that what happens to people is they start shrinking their lives so that they can feel like they're coping better. And they'll often say, well, I feel like I'm doing really well in my life. Well, how small has your life become? How reliant are you on your daily schedule, on predictability, on things that are the same? So brain habits that make your brain efficient but do not encourage neurogenesis, the increase of BDNF, which is a really important brain fertilizer that keeps your brain healthy, is protective against some neurodegenerative diseases as well, and also protects against depression and anxiety. What we want in life is to be so regulated that you expand, which means that you're not reliant on the same schedule and the same thing that you do every day to feel like you're in control of your life. In fact, you feel like you're in more control of your life because anything can happen to you, and you have the confidence that you're going to respond appropriately, proportionately, and you're going to be able to manage it well and come back down to that baseline. And you feel that confidence in every area of your life. So you're not sacrificing your health. You're not sacrificing relationships or family or social time or self-care or anything that you need to really feel healthy and joyful, like new experiences. So what happens when people shrink is that they feel like they're in control of their lives, but really they're not doing anything new. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary. They're not living their passions. They're not fulfilling hobbies or things that bring them joy. They're not invested in relationships. They're not even able to connect in relationships. So most of them are very shallow or superficial. They're short-lived or really disconnected. These people have trouble even connecting and being present with their kids sometimes because their mind is always somewhere else. And often with people, this is happening with their work life and their businesses where that's taking up so much of their brain space. It's to the detriment of everything else. So when we do this work, right brain to right brain, with SRT, self-regulation therapy, and you are more regulated, then the work is to expand, to throw out all of the schedules or rigidity or the closed-mindedness that you might have had that makes you feel safe and secure and in control. And we get bigger, we get adventurous, we get a little bit rebellious, we get a little bit defiant, we get a lot more energized in your life so that you can live bigger. The point is to live bigger and be able to handle it. When you're living a big, bold, badass life and you're not shrinking and you still feel like you can handle anything, that's what real living is about. So the idea that if we feel like we're overwhelmed, we need to shrink in, it only works short term, and it does not help you really live in a joyful, fulfilled state in your life where you're doing new things and you're expanding your mind and you're growing your brain. So this is how you grow your brain for lifelong health. This is how you increase the resiliency of your nervous system so you're not dealing with depression and anxiety, insomnia, autoimmune disease, other psychosomatic illness, GI distress, TMJ. All those things can be connected to a dysregulated nervous system. What if we could regulate you so that your sense of feeling in control was constant from the inside out? You had clarity, you had confidence, and you didn't have to compromise. That's this kind of work that you can live bigger. Take your time for deep recovery, but you're not shrinking your life just to manage the overwhelm that you feel. If you feel internal chaos and you're just trying to put these structures in place and follow all these books and this advice for how to create habits so your brain is more effective and you can be more efficient, that's all good advice, but you need to be able to shake it up. And if you're relying on those things to make your brain efficient, efficiency isn't necessarily growth. In fact, it isn't. And it can allow more growth, but often people are relying on it and staying the same. And that's not where you're going to get your biggest boost in your boldest life. So try a different approach. See if you can connect with somebody that does the work I do. Connect with me to do this work with you so that you can be really regulated and then look to expand. Be adventurous, be a little bit rebellious, a little bit defiant, impish. Every day, a little bit. Get outside of yourself and be bigger, because that's what this life is supposed to be about. And you can do it all without compromise if you're using the right techniques and if you're using the right coaching and counseling methods. That's what I'm here for. Try it out.